At the age of 53, when he was out there performing in Kolkata, nobody would have expected this kind of news to break just moments later. You look at the footage also on your screens. This is the last concert. This was the concert last night in Kolkata where KK was seen belting out all of his most memorable hits. He was wealthy, he was healthy, he was well. You can see that it was very hot in Kolkata, so he was struggling a bit with the heat, but that was about it. He was perfectly fine otherwise, which is why it's come as such a jolt to all of us. He had in fact given this performance at the Nazrul Mancha in Kolkata and later went to his hotel. Now what we hear is that at the end of this concert, he did in fact complain of some discomfort. So immediately his team told him, let's go back to the hotel. He said, I want to go back to my room. And it looks like that's where he'd collapsed. He was rushed to a hospital where tragically he was declared dead. He was feeling heavy according to reports after the performance. Doctors suspect that cardiac arrest was the cause of his death. The music industry is in complete shock. They're mourning the sudden demise of this legendary singer. He was nothing short of legendary. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also condoled the demise of the singer. He said that he's saddened by the sudden demise and that KK's songs reflected a wide range of emotions. It struck a chord with people of all age groups. A message from the Prime Minister that resonates no doubt with the entire nation as we pay tribute to this legend today. The tributes that are pouring in right now from some of KK's colleagues, people who worked with him so closely, they're numb with shock essentially. Many of them we spoke to got extremely emotional also while speaking about KK, his demise and the the legend that he was.
I genuinely feel that the fact that if you lead a very disciplined life, you are going to live longer. That line probably has turned into a myth now. Discipline doesn't take you anywhere because you will not find a more non-controversial, disciplined guy in the film industry. The way he led his life, we have all seen. We used to make fun of it that 15 days he's there and then 15 days you may send him a text, it will not even get delivered. So he led a very serene, quiet, peaceful life. He just bothered about his songs, gave his best, and then he led his own life.
काम से पहले जो मैंने पहले बताया कि दोस्ती इतना सालों का दोस्ती है। मेरे यार की शादी में गाना गाया, फिर सड़क में गाना गाया, राज रिबूट, कितना गाना, बंगाली गाना गाया है, सब गाना गाया है। और ही वॉज फिट एंड फाइन। सबसे बड़ी बात है कि ओनली 53 एकदम फिट था वो, प्रॉब्लम नहीं था। इट्स अ ग्रेट लॉस।
He was completely fit and fine. He was healthy, he was doing well. Just moments before he collapsed reportedly, he was there at that concert in Kolkata with full energy, performing, doing what he loved, singing some of his most iconic Hindi songs. And that's why we're all shocked by the news that came in at about 11:30 last night that KK, one of India's favorite playback singers, is no more. Anupam is still live with us from Kolkata. Anupam, we understand that the post-mortem will be conducted in a few hours from now. Perhaps then we'll have some answers on what really happened to this legendary singer, to KK, who was just 53 years old. We understand his family members from Mumbai are also making their way to Kolkata this morning.
Exactly, this is people are extremely shocked, and this untimely demise of legendary singer KK is unbelievable to everyone. Even I was talking to one fan of his who attended the concert last night. He did manage to shake hands with this legendary singer, and when he heard this news, he was like in a shock. So you can understand the way he was loved by people, fans all over India. And last night we have seen a lot of fans and people came to this hospital where the dead body of KK is kept. But the exact cause of death will be, I think, ascertained after the post-mortem report comes to us. And before that, we should not come to any conclusion. We should wait for the post-mortem report, which will be conducted in SSKM hospital, a government hospital, which is around 3 to 4 kilometers from this hospital. And what we are hearing from police sources that the the post-mortem will be conducted after KK's family. The wife and son is supposed to come here. After they reach here, the body will be taken for post-mortem in SSKM hospital.
Anupam, I think one of the questions everyone's asking right now is, in that particular concert last night in Kolkata, were there any signs that KK showed of, discomfort, that he was looking fatigued or anything like that?
See, I have seen a lot of visuals. I have spoken with a lot of people who attended this concert. The visible signs of discomfort were not shown by KK, but he indeed said at the end of the program, when the program was nearing to its end, that he was feeling discomfort. He was not feeling easy, and he told the organizers to switch off the spotlight. Then, in between the breaks, he took rest in the backstage, and then when the program was completed, he asked the organizers that he wanted to go to the hotel room, and when he reached in the hotel, what we are hearing that he fell down. And he got unconscious. Then he was brought to this hospital and he was brought dead. This was the circumstances which we have been told about, and I'm telling it to you that these were the circumstances. No visible signs of discomfort was shown during the concert by KK. That was apparently what we are getting.
Okay, and you can see that in the footage. Apart from, I think, a brief moment when you can see him wiping, the sweat off because it was extremely hot in Kolkata last night. He seemed perfectly fine, full of energy, interacting with the audience as he usually does. Didn't cut short his concert or anything like that. Sang all of his most memorable hits in the way only KK can. And after that, as per what Anupam is telling us, he did complain of some discomfort. But considering he had no past, no history of any ailment, of illness, when he did complain of discomfort, even he didn't take it seriously. He said, I want to go to my hotel room instead of a hospital, and was taken to his hotel room. We understand in the hotel, he collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital then, where he was declared brought to death. That's how sudden it was, which is why everyone right now is still processing. We're still trying to come to terms with the demise of KK. Of course, he leaves behind a legacy like no other, with so many songs that come to mind right now when you think of KK. And I'm sure all of our playlists are flooded with songs, many of us not even realizing that they were actually sung by KK, because that's the kind of range also that he had. So many songs that come to mind right now. I want to give you a glimpse of his performance, his last performance last night in Kolkata. Unbelievable, really, that concert happened moments before. And you can see KK with his usual energy, his usual zeal, walking from one end of the stage to the other, interacting with the audience, sounding perfect as he always did. Let's get you some of the tributes also. When the news broke last night, we were as shocked as you were. We ensured that we got everyone from the industry, colleagues, friends of KK, who were so emotional and paid these tributes to the singer.
Usha, at this point, what does one ask? But what we can only ask you right now, because KK was such a popular singer, for another singer to hear that someone was performing, a colleague, someone you may have known, worked with, or even not, but sharing the same love for music. He was performing on stage just about a few hours ago and then drops dead.
I've worked with him so often. I think one of the most prolific performers, one of the most amazing singers. It's just quite unbelievable, actually. One of our finest singers and finest human beings, one of the most non-controversial people I've ever seen. I can't believe this, actually.
Ma'am, how do you at this point, do you think, he's left such a legacy behind us for all to remember him with his songs? And do you think that perhaps is the legend how we should remember KK now? He's remembered for the past at least 15 years.
Actually, all these things you can't say about somebody who is so young and just on the way. What are we talking about? Legacy, and that's too much. Really, you can't say all that. How will we be remembered? All I know is we're still in shock. Can't even think that something like this could have happened.
Ma'am, if you may tell us about, you'd known him personally, any moment that you remember at this point when the shocking news has come and has shocked everyone, from fans to anyone who's ever known him or heard his music?
I think the most amazing thing about him is one of the most intelligent singers I've ever known. And such a fine singer. I don't know, it's not something I really...
When you hear of such a news, one doesn't even know how to react. But, performing at a concert and then he collapses and is dead. I mean, when did you hear of this news? Tell us something about KK that you've known.
I've just heard that from the promoter, that he did an amazing concert at Nazrul Nazrul Mancha in Kolkata, and he wasn't feeling very well after the show, and but the concert was really fantastic, and everybody loved it. He got off stage, he wasn't very well, he wasn't feeling very well. He vomited. He asked for ORS. He went to his room. He vomited, and he was just he just sort of collapsed. He was taken to the hospital, and he was declared dead. I'm shocked because I cannot believe. I just spoke to the promoter, and he said that it was a fantastic show, and they wanted him to repeat it again. But he said, no, I'm not feeling very well. And so he had a 6 a.m. flight, and he's no more. He's one performer I know who's so, as a singer, he's so disciplined. He doesn't really, eat that much. He doesn't eat outside food too much. He loves cooking. He's a homebody. He likes to stay home. He likes to stay indoors. He likes to be, with his family. And he travels really light, and he doesn't really, he's not at all very demanding. He's just, very, very grounded. He lives a very healthy life. And at the age of 54 also, 52, 54, I think that's his age, he was very, very active on the live circuit. He did, this month itself, he's done a few concerts. And really, it's really shocking how a guy, after a brilliant show, after, pleasing his audiences and, having an amazing show, just goes back to his hotel room and is no more.
Salim, how do you think this is going to be felt across the industry? Because I can only think of one song after another, a legacy that he left behind, and clearly there was so much more that we would have loved to have from him, whether it was Pyaar Ke Pal or film songs or these concerts. It was an energy that just connected to people for years.
I just don't know how to process this news. I'm falling short of words, and I really hope and pray that his family finds strength. And the whole music fraternity has lost an incredible singer. A singer with such a golden voice that lit up cinema, that lit up every track that he sung. And, a voice that resounds. I'm getting goosebumps. I cannot understand. I can't process what has just happened. He was a very dear friend of mine. We've spoken for such a long time. Whenever we used to meet, we used to, just be talking about the music scene and about our songs that we recorded together. I still remember when he had come to sing Ashaye, he insisted that I should sing that word Ashaye. He doesn't mind singing the whole song, but that part Ashaye should be sung by me. And it's such a beautiful soul, a great human being, amazing artist. They say that all good people leave you very soon, and it's really true. It was Sidhu Moosewala 3 days ago, and today it's KK. What's happening to the music world? It's a very dark time for the music world.
That's so true what you said, people who've connected to KK for generations. Literally, there was a second generation coming forth and he was still connecting to them. Salim, if you can also tell me, because this is such unpredictable moments like these. Like you said, whether it was Moosewala or whether it is KK right now, as we are ending the day, we're reporting this demise. it is such an unpredictable moment that, and we can only now try and remember KK for the music that he's left behind. It's the legacy that he's left behind for us.
Indeed. It's these people, they just their heart and their soul is so pure that I think they go very soon, leaving their legacy behind. I'm still in shock, and I'm still broken and completely traumatized with what's going on.
So tributes pouring in right now for KK, and many of his colleagues, his friends, are in absolute shock. They're saying that he was such a great person, always so full of energy, and all of them saying the same thing. He wasn't ailing, he was doing just fine, and suddenly this news comes in that he has passed away. And as we pay tribute to KK, how do you in fact pay tribute to such a big legend who sang so many songs in over 8 languages? Let's get you some lesser known facts about KK, which I'm sure you didn't know about. KK is someone who actually worked in the hotel industry before moving to Mumbai and trying to ensure that he got that big break with his voice. Believe it or not, he wasn't trained in classical music, and yet he sang so many amazing emotional songs with such range. You wouldn't believe that he hasn't been trained. He's sang songs in more than 8 languages as well. I want to take this across to Shankar Mahadevan, who's joining us on this broadcast. Sir, the entire nation is just numb in shock. And I'm sure you two are. I'm sure you're completely shocked by the news that came in last night.
I have no words. I don't know what to express. I don't know how to explain this whole situation, and I'm not understanding the meaning of what's happening around us. It's like मतलब जमीन के नीचे से मतलब पैर वो जमीन निकल गई पैरों के नीचे से ऐसा feeling आ रहा है. It's a horrible feeling, and I just cannot believe, because a few months, just 2-3 months back, I met KK and we did one television show together. It was a finale of one show, and KK had also come as a guest. And me and friends of ours like Akati Kakkar and Nika and Shan and all, we were teasing him. We were teasing him that, you are like the curious case of Benjamin Button, where you are aging in reverse. Because he was looking better and better. He was just getting fitter and looking absolutely amazing. And I was teasing him, how the hell do you do this? Look at us and look at you. And I have no words. And what a person, what a human being. Always, you can only imagine him smiling and laughing and, and giving you love and positivity. He was all about positivity. And my association with him has been for over 30 years. Even before we did Dil Chahta Hai. And of course, we've done umpteen jingles together. And of course, in Dil Chahta Hai, when we sang Koi Kahe Kehta Rahe together, and many other songs, for many super hit films. And KK was always part of our Shankar Ehsaan Lal team. Because, along with him being a fabulous singer, which I need not, specify, he was a fabulous human being. Just having him in the studio was an amazing feeling, So I just have no words to further say how I'm feeling and what is going to happen. What is this void? How are we going to move ahead?
He was 53, Mr. Mahadevan, and you're saying, he was fit, he was healthy, he was performing just last night, which is why we're all so shocked by this news.
We performed together in umpteen places, many a times KK performs and I perform, or I perform, KK performs, or he performs the previous day, I perform the next day. He's an amazing performer, he's a charmer, and and he's a versatile artist because he sings in multiple languages, and some of his iconic songs like Pyaar Ke Pal and all, just get people, we just are in tears and emotional. Yaro, Dosti, the song about friendship. This is a signature of KK, and I don't know what it's a big loss to the world of music. But I guess his voice will always linger around for the many more years to come.
we've all, Mr. Mahadevan, enjoyed his music. Some of his most soulful songs and the range that he had was unbelievable. But can you tell us a bit about the man behind the music? Because you've interacted so closely with him. What's your fondest memory? What's the one memory that hits you today?
He was a very simple guy, He did not believe in, publicizing his presence. He didn't. I'm sure that he didn't even have a Twitter account or an Instagram account or a page. Or even if he had, he was not bothered about it.
Yeah.
So he did not want this whole social media. He was not on WhatsApp. It was only him, his work. Whenever somebody calls him for a recording, if there's a performance, and that was, he was very choosy about his performances. He would not accept every organizer calling him and perform. He was very choosy because he wanted to spend quality time with his family. He was an extremely, what can I say, he was a family man, and that was of extreme importance to him, I remember a time when he went to Singapore for a holiday for like about 25 days. In one day, one hotel he would be stayed in Singapore. I asked, KK, yaar, tu kaisa karta hai, sir? 25 days, how are you able to, take out in a state? So he advised me, what, you should do this. At least once, just do it. Go for 30 days, 40 days. I remember once he'd gone for 40 days for a holiday. He was not bothered about, whether he's going to lose work, whether he was a carefree person, and his priority was his family and his time. He was not worried about, how much should I post and how many followers I have and, whether I'm getting like 3 million likes or whatever. He was not into that. So he was a very simple guy and with a golden heart.
Mr. Mahadevan, final, request from you. You've said so much about the kind of memories you have with KK, how you've both worked together as well. I think today, when we're all so shocked by this, it's his music that we all remember, that we live on with. So one song that, was your personal favorite from KK. And if you could sing it for us.
He sung the song and gone so that, we remember him forever. I love his singing.
We've got goosebumps. Thank you, Mr. Mahadevan, for joining us on India Today. And I think you, along with so many other friends of KK, I cannot imagine what you're feeling right now, because as a nation, we truly feel like we've lost someone very, very close to us as well. And the best tribute, as I mentioned, with Mr. Shankar Mahadevan as well, that we can give a legendary singer like KK, who even in his last moments was seen performing to the crowd, doing what he loved, is to remember some of his most iconic hits. Here's one of them. So many memorable hits that we'll always carry with us. KK will continue to live on in our hearts with the music that he gave us. But for so many people, we've spoken to his friends, his colleagues, they've spoken about KK, the man, about how simple he was, down to earth, and how much he loved what he did, how much he loved his music. Here's a conversation. We're taking it back, in fact, a couple of years ago when we had a conversation with KK on his rather inspiring journey.
दिल्ली से माउंट सेंट मेरी से बॉलीवुड तक ये कैसे हुआ?
बहुत ही लंबा सफ़र एक्चुअली जब जिक्र कर रहे थे 14 साल, उससे 3 साल पहले मेरी शुरुआत हुई थी, लेकिन उसके बाद कुछ ज़्यादा 17 साल पहले मैं कहूँगा कि मेरी सबसे पहली शुरुआत फिल्मों में हुई थी, फिल्म मार्चेस में 96 में। उसके बाद ज़्यादा काम नहीं था, बट आई स्टिल रिमेंबर दैट फर्स्ट सॉन्ग व्हिच आई डिड, उसके जो बोल थे ना, उसमें जो मैंने सिर्फ एक लाइन किया था, छोड़ा है वो गलियाँ, और मैं दिल्ली से तब आया था मुंबई, और वो जो लाइनें थी वो मेरे दिल के बहुत करीब थी। मेरे को लगा कि मैं दिल्ली से आऊँ यहाँ पे, और पहला गाना जो मिला गुलजार साहब के साथ, विशाल भारद्वाज की उन्होंने म्यूजिक किया था, छोड़ाए हम वो गलियाँ। दिल्ली में मेरी शुरुआत जो है स्टेज पे जो हुई थी, ऐसे एक स्टेज था थोड़ा इससे बड़ा, स्कूल का जो मल्टीपर्पस हॉल होता है, वहाँ पर हुई थी मेरी। एंड आई रिमेंबर मैं 2nd स्टैंडर्ड में था, स्टेज पे चढ़ा और मैंने गाना गाया, जब अंधेरा होता है आधी रात के बाद एक चोर निकलता है काली सी सड़क पे, ये आवाज आती है चोर 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 चोर, शहरों की गलियों में जब अंधेरा होता है।
When the moon is in the 7th house.
Yeah, you're right. Somewhere from there.
Yeah.
Right? So I did this song and उसके बाद मैं किशोर दा के गाने सुनने लगा। प्यार दीवाना होता है, मस्ताना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना होता है। क्षमा कहे परवाने से परे चला जा, मेरी तरह जल जाएगा यहाँ नहीं आ। जो नहीं सुनता उसको जल जाना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना होता है। ये गाना जो है ना,
सुनो किसी शायर ने ये
कहा बहुत खूब, मना करे दुनिया लेकिन मेरे महबूब आ ही जाता है जिस पे दिल आना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना होता है। This is one of my favorite romantic songs actually. I still remember. I hope Jyoti is listening, my wife. क्योंकि जब मैंने उसको पटाया था ना, तो मैंने ये
ये मैं पूछने वाली,
तो मैंने यही गाना गाया था उस टाइम पर। This I remember singing in our colony में हर annual day फंक्शन होते थे, तो मैं ये गाता था।
उनकी तरफ देख के
वो भी नहीं कर सकते कि मम्मी डैडी बैठे होते थे तब, तो you can't be so direct. You have to like बीच में स्टील कर लिया गाते गाते, कहीं से ऐसे इधर देख लिया, ऐसे होता था।
She knew, उनको पता था।
उस वक्त तो नहीं पता था, बिकॉज यू वेरी यंग, about 6th 7th ना।
अच्छा।
तो पता लगा तो हम 10th में थे, तब मैंने उसको बोला, I confessed and I said, listen, I need to have you as my partner in life.
That early?
At 10th, yeah. See,
15 साल?
No, but listen to me. अगर तुमने early और late का तो सवाल ही नहीं होता, एक बार ही तय कर लिया तो बस वो तो जो यहाँ पे लाओ और बोल दो।
I wish there were more men like you.
No, believe me. अब वो कैसे शुरू हुआ आप पूछ रहे थोड़ी देर पहले, मैं बहुत बातें करता हूँ ना।
नहीं, बहुत अच्छी बातें कर रहे हैं। मैं सोच रही हूँ ये लेसन कुछ और हमारे नौजवान सीखे जो आप कह रहे हैं।
सिर्फ 9? मैं तो कहूँ काफी सारे सीखे। अच्छा, coming back to the fact that I came to Mumbai in 94-95, उस वक्त मैं ये सोच के आया था कि मैं एल्बम करूँगा, और तब उस भूत सवार था बिल्कुल वेस्टर्न, बिकॉज मैं दिल्ली में उससे पहले, यहाँ आने से पहले आई वाज विद सम रॉक बैंड्स, मैं खुद ड्रम्स बजाता था।
अच्छा।
हाँ, और एक बैंड के साथ मैं गाता था, अलग अलग किस्म के गाने किए मैंने। आई यूज्ड टू डू न्यू रॉक। It's late at night and neither one of us is sleeping. I can't imagine living my life after you're gone.
Fantastic.
तो मैं जाके मिला म्यूजिक कंपनी से, मैंने तो सुना है अपना कैसेट, ये तो इंग्लिश है। मैंने कहा मेरे को इंग्लिश ही करना है। नहीं हो सकता, आप जाइए। मतलब इन सॉफ्टर टर्म्स दे सेड प्लीज कैरी ऑन, आई डोंट थिंक इट विल वर्क। तो मैं एडवर्टाइजिंग में घुस गया उस वक्त।